Alright, so here we are on lesson 23, more solving equations using algebra. So we've got a few more examples with word problems that we need to write equations for. So number 1 says the youth group is going on a trip to an amusement park in another part of the state. The trip costs each group member of the group $150, which includes $85 for the hotel and 2 one-day combination entrance and meal plan passes. So the first part says to write an equation that represents the cost of the trip. Let P be the cost of the park pass. Okay, so we know P is the park pass. So we know first of all that in their cost it's $85 for the hotel. So we know that much. And then plus, because we're going to add, we know they get 2 park passes. So it would be 2P, and all of this equals 150. Alright, if you still need to do a visual, which is fine if you do, it would probably look something like this. So we know it's $85 for the hotel, and then 2 boxes for park passes, and we know this all equals 150. Alright, but right now you don't need to draw the visual, you can just write the equation. So now part B says to solve the equation algebraically. So we have 85 plus 2P equals 150. So we subtract 85 from both sides first, and we get 2P equals, borrow 4, 5, and then 14 minus 8, we get 65. And then we divide by 2, and P, when we divide by 2, is 37.5. Alright, but we know that this is money, so we're going to have to add another 0 at the end, so we can say that the cost, do it in a different color, the cost of each park pass is $37.50. Alright, so that's number 1. The next one says, suppose you want to buy your favorite ice cream bar while at the amusement park and it costs $2.89. If you purchase the ice cream bar and 3 bottles of water and pay with a $10 bill and receive no change, how much did each bottle of water cost? So first it says to write an equation. So we're going to write down first what we're comparing. So first we have ice cream. And we know that the ice cream costs $2.89, so we don't need a variable for that. But then for water, we don't know the cost of the water, so we're going to call it W. So we know that they paid $2.89 for the ice cream, and then plus they got 3 bottles of water, so it will be 3W, and this all equals 10. So actually I'm one step ahead of the game here. So that's all for part A. Alright, part B says to solve the equation. So we have 289 plus 3W equals 10. So I'm going to subtract 289 from both sides. Add some zeros up here, so we borrow, so this becomes a 9, this will be a 9, and this is a 10. So we have 1, 1, decimal, and then 7, and this equals 3W. Scroll down a little bit. So now we have to divide by 3 on both sides. If you take a second on your own to divide that by 3 off to the side, I have faith that you all can do that. We would get that W equals $2.37. So we can say that each water bottle costs $2.37. Okay, so flip on over to the next page. So the last page I want to do all together. So this page is talking about weekly allowance. And it says that Charlotte receives a weekly allowance from her parents. She spent half of this week's allowance at the movies, but earned an additional $4 for performing extra chores. If she didn't spend any additional money and finished the week with $12, what is Charlotte's weekly allowance? Write an equation that can be used to find the original amount of Charlotte's weekly allowance. Okay, so they say that A is allowance. So I'll put that down here. So there's a lot going on. They're talking about 1/2 of the allowance, but then she got $4 more. Alright, so we're going to go one step at a time here. So she spent half of the allowance. So that means that is 1/2 A, or you could write it as A over 2. But then she got an additional 4, so additional means to add $4, and this all equaled 12. That's what she finished with. So now if we solve for A, we subtract 4 from both sides. So we get 1/2 A equals 8. And now we need to multiply both sides by 2. So we get A equals 16. So we can say that the original allowance was $16. Okay? We're going to skip part B here. Don't need to explain your answer. Part C says that Charlotte's goal is to save $100 for her beach trip at the end of the summer. Use the amount of weekly allowance you found in Part C to write an equation to determine the number of weeks that Charlotte must work. So we're going to label weeks as W. So we know that she earns $16 per week, so it's going to be 16W. She's trying to save $100. So now we have to divide by 16 on both sides. So if you do that off to the side, if you take a second, go ahead and try that. When you do divide it, you find out that W is 6.25. But we're not going to say that she's just going to work 6 1/4 of a week. Okay, because we would rather that she earns more money than not enough. So we're going to round up, and we would say that Charlotte must work 7 weeks. Alright, now we're going to skip part D here. So if you flip over to the next page, I want you to try this whole page on your own. Alright, try it on your own. And then don't worry about the last page. You may skip that and we will come back to it some other time. Alright, so go ahead and do that and then bring any questions that you have to class tomorrow.